guys, it's Sandro here, and today's video is a look at the Sliplo Bumper Guard Universal Skid Plate. To put it simply, Sliplo is a paint protective guard that's applied to the underside of your front bumper lip that stops those gut-wrenching scrapes from damaging your car's lower front bumper. It's quick and easy to install with no modifications, drilling or damage to your car. It's durable, effective, and compared to fixing a scraped bumper, it's extremely affordable and well priced. And if you go to the description box of this video, there's also a 10% off discount code you can use at the Sliplo website to not only save on the purchase, but also help support this channel and future videos. But beyond any of that, the only reason I've done this video is because I've tried and tested it firsthand, and I can confidently say that it does what it says it does and actually does it exceedingly well. Some of you guys may know that this Alfa Giulietta QV is my partner's car, and about 3 months ago the bumper was replaced with a new one and painted after she had a little fender bender, which I talked about in a video. And as you can hopefully see, after just a couple of months, this brand new bumper has quite a few scratches, scrapes, and one really bad gash that's inflicted quite a bit of damage. And after all the work that I've put into detailing and maintaining it, it's honestly a little heartbreaking and frustrating. Now this car really isn't all that low, and is more or less a standard height, so you can imagine how bad it would be if it was a low sprung car. And in truth, unless you've got a 4-wheel drive or a taller SUV, this is really something that affects most cars on the road. Now I can appreciate that not everyone cares whether their front bumper skirts get hacked up or not, which is fine. But if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you'll know that I do care about the finer details, as do my customers, which is why they are my customers, and which is also why you're hopefully watching. So just to briefly go through the Sliplo kit, it comes in quite a nice package in which you'll get a couple of stickers, an adhesive promoter to help create a stronger bond of the guard protectors to your bumper, a nice set of easy to follow instructions, and you'll also get templates to help map out the best layout for your particular car, which I'll show you and discuss a little later on. And finally, you get 10 Sliplo guards, which should be more than enough to protect almost any bumper out there. The guards themselves are made from super strong polyurethane, having a 10-year warranty, and from speaking to the company themselves, it took them years to develop and refine not only the guards but also the specific adhesive, which is a super strength 3M double-sided adhesive, meaning that it's not going to tear off as it scrapes along the road or concrete, which is the whole point. Now just before we get to the installation, I decided to quickly see how much of the scratches and scrapes I could remove before installing the Sliplo. Now this isn't something you have to do before you install them, but you certainly can give the bumpers and paint a polish to get it looking better beforehand. And for me personally, I also did this because I wanted to be able to properly test the guards out and be able to identify any potentially new scratches or scuffs, just in case they didn't work as well as promised. Now as you hopefully can see, I was able to get out most of the defects except for that really bad scrape, which I wish I could go back and install these straight after the bumper was replaced. But hopefully I can at least prevent any future damage down the track. And really important to note, you should also give the bumper a wipe down with some isopropyl alcohol as your final step before the installation. So onto the installation. As I mentioned earlier, you do get a bunch of these removable sticker templates, which you can temporarily stick onto the bumper to map out the best possible layout if you're not too sure about how to best position the guards, or if you have a tricky bumper skirt. So more or less, you can use them to test out and pinpoint your Sliplo guards before you actually install them. And these stickers can also let you know if and where you need to trim the guards to make them perfectly fit. But you do get all that info in the instructions, and if you go to their website, there's also plenty of installation tips and videos to further help you out. Now since this bumper's lower skirt is quite a simple and standard one, I really didn't feel the need to use the sticker templates, but rather just roughly lined them up along the skirt and worked out that about 7 guards in a single line should work perfectly. I also saw that I needed to just ever so slightly curve them in a touch to conform to the bumper's shape. And also important to note is that you want to stick them away from the very edge of the bumper lip, so that you can't see them when you're standing up from a normal viewing distance. and also because you don't want them stuck on the very front curved edge of the lip, but rather an inch or two back on the flatter area, which will create a stronger bond and actually protect the area of the bumper more prone to scraping. But firstly, I do strongly advise that you use the Adhesive Promoter just before installing them, as it will more than double the strength of the guard's bond to your bumper, ensuring that it will stay on for many years to come. To apply the 3M promoter, just pull it out of the package and wipe it along the area that you intend on sticking the Sliplo guards onto. Don't worry if you apply it a little too wide, as you can easily clean it up after you're done, but just make sure that you do have good coverage for the guards. With all that done, I personally found that actually sticking the guards on was the easiest part of the whole process. I started from the very center of my bumper skirt and worked my way out, going left to right one by one until I reached the end of the skirt. As I mentioned earlier, I had to very slightly curve most of the guards to line them up perfectly, but apart from that, it was really just a matter of lining them up and pressing them into place. Now if your bumper is a little more complicated, I do recommend using the template stickers, especially if you need to trim the guards, as those stickers are great for sizing up the plates, or you could also potentially use just some masking tape to help with your positioning. But in any case, it's really all about the prep work. So make sure that the bumper is perfectly cleaned and primed with the Adhesive Promoter, make sure you have your positioning worked out perfectly, and the rest is a breeze. Lastly and importantly is that you do spend a good couple of minutes pressing each Sliplo guard firmly onto the bumper. You shouldn't be able to see any gaps or areas that aren't completely stuck on perfectly. Now you certainly don't need a car hoist like the one I'm using to install them, but a set of car jack stands or car ramps will largely help prop up the front end so you can have the proper leverage to do the work a little easier. And that's pretty much it, guys. Just try to keep the guards as dry as possible for the first 48 hours while the adhesive fully bonds, but you can really just use the car as normal in most circumstances. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you get a little too much Adhesive Promoter on your bumper, you should be able to clean it up with just some isopropyl alcohol or just some wax and grease remover, but just apply it directly to a cloth and avoid getting it on to the guard's adhesive backing. With the car fully on the ground and at normal viewing distance, you really shouldn't be able to see the Sliplo guards at all, which is another thing I really love about them. So you can pretty much forget about them, but always have the assurance that they are doing their job. Before I put this video out, I wanted to test the Sliplo guards out for a couple of months to make sure that they were both holding up and protecting the bumper skirts as claimed. Now, as much as it pained me, I purposely took this car through a few steep inclines that have caught my bumper's cars in the past, and even went over a couple of speed bumps a little faster than I should, which definitely put the Sliplo guards directly onto the tarmac and concrete. One thing I noticed was that although I could definitely still feel the bumper hitting the road, that awful gut-wrenching scraping noise was nowhere to be heard, which was definitely different and a welcome change. But more importantly, the proof is in the results, or rather the lack of any new scuffs or scratches to be seen. But even more so impressive is that I couldn't see any scuffs or scrapes on the Sliplo guards themselves, and that really wasn't something that I expected. They just seem to be extremely tough and resistant themselves, and as far as their adhesion to the bumper, they haven't budged a bit and are holding on just like day one. Now I've actually got a second set of these which I'm going to apply to my other car when I get the chance, and I'll try and do an update video in the future as time allows to see how they're both holding up down the track. As always, I really hope you guys enjoyed and found this video useful. Please like, comment and subscribe to this channel to show your support for these videos, and I'll see you guys soon.